I remember like when you told me you had like, you're like, oh, I'm going to have a kid. And I was like, okay. I was literally trying to like figure out how to still make the plan of us moving in together work.
I know.
I was like, okay, so she has this kid. Screw the guy. Who cares about him? Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Group Chat Unfiltered. I'm Eva.
I'm Maxine. And I am Felicia.
And on today's episode, we're going to be talking a little bit more seriously, still have some laughs, but we're talking about how our relationships have changed ever since we've had children. So bit of background. We all have kids at all varying ages. Mm-hmm. We all had kids at different age groups, different points in times in our life. And
with different personality types for the men.
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of gives some insight, and we wanted to share those stories with you today. As you know, we're all different. Everybody who's listening is at different stages of their lives, and it would be nice to maybe hear a little bit about how our lives changed after we had kids. So, yeah, we will start with Felicia.
Yes. So I got pregnant at 19 and then I gave birth at 20. My son's father and I, we were never married. And to be honest, we probably should never have had a child together for the fact that him and I, we are two completely different people, like different personalities, different likes, different dislikes, like just, we did not mesh well. So when my son was 4, we split up. Mostly we fought a lot, we argued a lot, and we just didn't get along. So when my son was 4, we split. And I like to preface this by saying my son's father is one of the most amazing men I've ever met. He is such an amazing dad, an amazing human being. Like he is fantastic. He's always been there for my son. We co-parent amazingly well, to the point where even his mom talks about how great we co-parent all the time. But we just weren't meant to be. So I started dating again really soon after we split. And I learned a lot from my relationship with my son's dad. And I learned a lot with dating in general when having a child. Because when you have a child, especially a young child, you can't just up and go out. You can't just do whatever you want. You have to think about your kids. So dating was a little difficult when my son was younger. And especially like, because you don't want to bring people around your kids all the time. Especially like if you're just starting to date. So I had a little bit of a learning curve with that, because, you know, I still wanted to be a good parent, but I also wanted to feel like a woman and things like that. So it was different. Relationships to dating when I didn't have a child. First of all, I was dating as a teenager, and then I was dating in my 20s. So it was completely different prior to having a kid to after having a kid. So it was, I don't know, it was just different. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember you like spreading the news, and I was not pleased. Because we were just entering into like the prime of our partying lives, and you were like, I want to be a parent. And I was like,
I missed out on
so you just like completely, we were supposed to get a place together.
We were
going to like live downtown Toronto and party it up. Yeah. Like even before like the idea of moving to England, like we were going to like move to downtown Toronto.
Well, yeah, that was the plan. We were going to move to Toronto, then we were going to move to England.
Yeah. And just like live our best lives. It was going to be me and you. Like that was the plan.
I ruined it.
And then you told me that you were going to have a baby, and I was like, so.
But you know what? I don't have too many regrets with having my son as young as I did. But the one regret was that I didn't actually get to enjoy being an adult when I first became an adult. So that's definitely one regret that I do have, is with having a child so young, is that I missed out on like most of my 20s.
Yeah, I remember you and I've talked about that. Like, because even I would just randomly go travel to different places.
Yeah.
So jealous.
Just one day we're like, and we're going to move to Vegas. We were 21.
I know.
And
That
like a few days
amazing.
later, we were like, and we're on
Oh
the
my
bus.
gosh. I remember
Yeah.
when you told me, and you know me. I don't get jealous. You guys know that. I don't get jealous. But for that, I was so jealous and I
Yeah.
was so upset that I couldn't go. But I couldn't because I had what was it? He was 1 at the time.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we had just
Yeah.
just turned 20. Well,
We were 21-ish.
21 turning 22.
So yeah, he would have been almost 2, and like I couldn't go. I couldn't just jump on a plane with you guys, and I was so upset because that's all I wanted to do. But when you have a kid,
you gotta focus
things
on your kid.
change.
Yeah. Can't go gallivanting around. I remember like when you told me you had like, you're like, oh, I'm going to have a kid. And I was like, okay. I was literally trying to like figure out how to still make the plan of us moving in together
I
work.
know.
I was like, okay, so she has this kid. Screw the guy. Who cares about him? That's fine. We'll take the kid. Kid will live with us. We'll live downtown Toronto. Still be party
I
girls.
totally would've done
Get
that.
a nanny.
Totally would've done that.
Live our best lives. Go out on the weekend. I was literally trying to figure out like any way to make it work. Like I was mapping it out logistically, hypothetically, quantum level. I really wanted it to still work.
But you know what? Our kids are getting older. We don't need no men. We'll continue with that plan just in our 40s. We'll just do it in our 40s.
Yeah, I guess that's true. We could technically still do that.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that you having your son so young, like, I mean, for me, I was not having any children at all.
Well, that was my plan. I think
I was the only one that was like,
You were the
I want
only
kids.
one who wanted
I want
kids.
like 4 kids. I want, a
Yeah.
whole brood of them. I have a kid. I'm like, and I'm done.
Yeah, like
God.
you wanted kids from the get-go, and Felicia and I were like, hell no. There's
not for
no
me.
way I am having a child. Like, no.
And yet we all have
have
kids.
kids.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
had one first, then you
I
had
had one,
and then
and then-
I had
yeah.
one.
Which is so funny because we always thought you would have a kid first.
Yeah, and
Like-
you were the last one to have one out of the three of us.
I know.
Which was just weird.
I know.
So my time, gosh, I had my daughter when I was 24, 25.
I remember when you told me.
The math is mathing, so it doesn't matter.
The math is not mathing in my head.
It's
But
mathing.
we'll go with you.
Anyway, so I had my daughter when I was 25, and I was like on the complete denial spectrum of being a
Oh
parent.
my God.
I remember
So,
that.
So
the
bad.
story of me finding out that I was pregnant essentially was I had gone out the night before, and I was like a party animal. I moved to Newfoundland, which is an island, like the easternmost province, island in the like middle of nowhere, disconnected from the rest of Canada. But
Yo.
it was a blast living there. And while I was there, like I was my own person. I went out. I had my own place. Prior to that, I was living with my mom. I had like no rules and I could do whatever the heck I wanted. So I went out. I went out immediately after work. I slept like for a few hours and I went back to work. And that was just the way that it was. But it was fun and I
Enjoying your
enjoyed
life.
myself and I was having a great time. So when I found out that I was pregnant, I had felt sick. I had gone out drinking and I had gotten sick. And I was like, I don't get sick this quickly. That's not right. And then I went and got a pregnancy test and it said that it was positive, but I was in my denial phase and I was like, nah, that's not right. That's incorrect. So I still felt like crap. Like, again, complete and total denial. Still felt terrible. Took Maxine. We went to the hospital and they did a test and asked the doctor, like he did the tests or whatever, came in, he was reading through all the charts and he's like, yeah, everything looks good here.
Yeah, and
So
you're about to leave.
My denial ass was like, cool. Doc said nothing. Peace. I'm out. This one, of course, had to ruin my gaze, just
Yeah.
like remove me from my dream and
You would
go
have walked out.
and go, oh, she had a pregnancy test. What was the result of that? And the doctor was like, oh. And then he said, like, yes, you're
He's
pregnant.
like, yeah, it says positive. You're pregnant.
Yeah.
I think you were like,
I was like 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Like you were
Yeah.
like so
Super early.
pregnant.
And it was just kind of like so mind-boggling to me, because that was like, as I said, I did not want to have children. That wasn't on my checklist. It was never a part of my life. I grew up with 3 brothers and all of their friends. I have my 2 best friends. Like, I had enough siblings growing up. The whole like raising kids thing was not in my plan because I raised my little brother. So I wasn't really interested in being a parent, but I'm also somebody who I couldn't see myself having an abortion. I believe that everybody has a choice. Every woman has the right to do what they feel is best for their bodies.
Yes.
And my choice just wasn't to have an abortion because I just couldn't do it myself. Emotionally, I've seen what goes on when people have them, and I've seen the emotional toll that it can take on people. And I just didn't think that I was capable of doing that. And I just didn't want to do it. So I didn't. So I had her. And my whole, like, again, in my, like, my disillusioned brain was like, I'm going to have her, but then my life's just going to go back. I'm going to do all the things I used to do and go out, and everything's going to be great. And it definitely doesn't go back that way, but you can still do the things that you were doing before. You just do it a bit differently. And I think that's part of this thing that people forget is, like, when you become a parent, whether you're, you know, the mother or the father, your life doesn't completely stop. It just changes. And I think that's what people forget, because I still travel. I still go out and party on the weekends, and I still, you know, I have trips and shopping, and I still do all those things. It's just I do it a little bit different now because I have to take in consideration, like, okay, who's going to watch my daughter?
Yeah.
How are we
to have that support?
Yeah, like make sure that everything is good. And I mean, when it comes to like money and stuff, because I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, you know, like now you have to spend all this extra money on another person. Yeah, okay, I got to spend money on another person. But I just make sure that, like, okay, she's taken care of, I'm good, the rest is for me, and I do what I want. So I can still kind of be selfish in the sense that, like, I still get myself nice things. I still go on trips. I went on like 2 or 3 trips last year. I still do all the same stuff that I did.
It's just a bit more mild.
I'm not partying like Thursday to Monday every week anymore. But at the same point, like, I don't think I would still be doing that at this age now anyway. I think that
Probably
would
not.
drop off on its own. So the little bit that I do, I think I could do more, but I feel like COVID's kind of made me more of an introvert because I'm too weirded out being around a lot of people. All of that being said, my relationships changed. I mean, the biggest changes were engaged now, which, again, for those, like, these ladies know me well, like, marriage was also something really not on my list of things to do. But since we're already checking off things on the list that weren't on it, I guess throw that in there too. I would say, like, before we had our daughter, we would go on camping trips and stuff together. We'd go out with friends and things. I think now the most dramatic, like, I feel like our relationships changed the most dramatically because we moved. Because we were in Newfoundland together, and then when I found I was pregnant, just before my 3rd trimester, I moved back to Ontario. So we left kind of like the friend groups that we had there, we left and came here. And he kind of lost some of his, like, he lost most of his friends in that sense because they were either in Newfoundland or they eventually kind of spread out throughout the rest of the country. So he has one friend here. But like we still do like the camping. We just, you know, add our daughter in. We still go out, not as often as I would like, but he's not an overly social person. Like, going out with his friends is different than just like going out with my friends. It's not the same feel. But I would say the biggest change is just now having to add her into the plans or having to plan around like her care and make sure that she's watched for and cared for while we're going and doing something, or if I'm going and doing something. I think having that other person there like having my fiance there to watch her if I'm going out with the girls or if I'm on a trip or if it's a work thing and I'm going to be gone for a few days. That really does help. But I would say that all in all, it doesn't feel like it's changed all that much. It's just we have this extra person.
Yeah.
For me. Like, it's not a dramatic change in how I'm living. I would just say that, yeah, I have to equate for like one more person.
Yeah, and I think for your relationship as well, you guys have, because it's different when you have a kid, you guys have found ways to kind of still have that connection. Like, you guys like to watch, what was it, MASH or something?
Yeah,
like
we
that?
watch MASH.
You
And
guys
like,
have certain things that you guys
we'll
do.
pick
And
shows,
like, and you guys will get like junk food and
just chill.
yeah.
And, you know, like we might not go out as often because Toronto's expensive and
It is.
we don't always have money to go and do all the fancy things, but like we'll go out and do some things. I think now because everything's so much more expensive than it was, it's a lot harder. Like
Yeah.
we're making more than we were when we first moved here, but because everything's just gotten so much more expensive, we still just can't afford to. I think even if we didn't have our daughter, we probably still wouldn't be able to afford doing everything that we used to do because it's just so expensive.
Yeah, it's insane what the
Yeah,
way things
like,
are now.
I wouldn't, if someone came to me and was like, oh, well, you know, you can't live this life because you have a kid. I'd be like, no, you can't live it either. You're just doing it and not paying your bills.
Yeah.
That's literally the only difference. So, yeah, I would say that's probably how my relationship has changed. So, Maxine?
Yep. So I am a single parent. I'm a sole single parent to a 3-year-old daughter. She's amazing. Best choice I ever made. When I met my daughter's father, I was at a really difficult place in my life from a previous relationship, which didn't help. Got pregnant really fast. I think we were together for like 4 months, something like that. Got
Something like
pregnant
that.
really fast. Would not advise that.
No.
You can't really know someone like the real that person within 3 or 4 months. Got pregnant and everything changed. His true personality came through. Ended up being an extremely abusive relationship, which, you know, that's all past. But had my daughter when I was 31. And things just, they were brutal. Absolutely brutal. Right from the get-go, I was doing it on my own right from the beginning. And it was hard. It was very hard for me because I was expecting to have that person. I was expecting to have that someone there to help, and it wasn't there. I had no support. So we split, went through, you know, some bad stuff. Again, like it was an abusive relationship. So even with ending it, it wasn't the end. It was just pissed him off, which made it worse. But I have to say I have a really good group of people, really great support system that kept me safe. And now it's just me and her and my ladies, my amazing people. And having a kid did change. It changed intimacy. It changed relationships because I'm extremely careful. I'm extremely careful with who is in my daughter's life. For me, the biggest thing is I will always prioritize my child and myself. So dating is not really on the horizon. Like, I have somebody that I really care about that's in my life. But even that, it's, you know,
Taking it slow.
taking time, like just taking time to really know that this is going to work because my daughter is the most important. I need to make sure she's okay. I need to make sure that whoever is in her life is long-term.
Well, that's another thing. When you have kids and you're dating, it's not just yourself that you're thinking about. You're thinking about your child or children. Like, you can't, like when you're single and you have no kids, like, you know, you can, like, I used to just, well, I was a teenager at the time, but like I'd just go up and get out and just get dressed and just leave and do that. But when you have kids, like, you have to make sure that they're safe, that they're taken care of. And then even when you're dating somebody, you got to think, is this person, like, whether you bring them around your kids or not, is this person going to be good for them in the long term? Like, when you're thinking long-term relationships, because that's, at the end of the day, especially when you have kids, most people want to have long-term relationships. Nobody's got time for the short-term relationships.
No. And the thing is, it's safety as well. Like before having my daughter, I would just date. Like it wasn't really a big deal. Like as long as we were attracted to each other and we had some things we could talk about, it was fine, because if it didn't work out, it didn't work out. Okay, see, I move on to the next. Like it wasn't really anything I thought of. Like I really enjoyed dating in my early 20s, like my late teens, early 20s. I enjoyed dating. I enjoyed meeting new people, you know, just traveling, having fun, all that stuff. I enjoyed doing all of it. Now it's a little different. Can I travel? I can. I've built myself up. I make more than enough money to survive, to take care of my child. You know, I do it all on my own. I don't get money from the father. I don't have any of that to help me. You know, I did it on my own, but I chose, you know, what do I want to do? And for me, it's, I can travel, or I can save and buy a house, or, you know, save and give her an even more extravagant Christmas or birthday, you know, and that's just a choice for me. That's what works for me. It makes me happy. Like I did traveling in my 20s. I did all of that. Don't get me wrong. I'm going on that Europe trip with you guys. Like I'm going on that because I've never been to England. So I want to go, but then it's just prioritizing. It's like, okay, I want to make sure that I get all this stuff for her. I can do all this stuff with her, but I also want to do this. So I'm still going to do it, but I can't do last minute.
Yeah.
You know, I can't do last minute planning, you know, and I don't like asking people for help. I don't want to be like, hey guys, you watch my kids so I can go do this, that, or whatever. I just don't want to take advantage of the friendships and the relationships that I have.
Yeah, but asking for help and taking advantage of somebody are not the same thing.
I know. And it's something that I've been working on. I am getting a bit better with it.
I know we've had many conversations
So
about
many.
that.
I know you guys have keep going like, it's fine, it's okay, like have fun. But for me, that's just my personal thing. You know, and everyone's different. You know, everyone's different when it comes to that. For me personally, it doesn't mean I'm going to judge somebody if they're like, yeah, my family helps and my family does this or whatever. I'm not judging. I'm not going to judge. It's just for me personally, I don't want to do that because I feel bad. You know, I feel bad if I do that. But as she's getting older and whatnot, like it's gotten a lot easier for me. I also have a little bit of control thing. I'm a slight helicopter mom.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, just a tad.
Just a little bit. I'm a slight helicopter mom. Well, I had her later in life, you know, like, and she's my one and only. I'm not doing it again. I love her. I wanted a lot of kids, but
I feel like I have my mom's mentality on raising us. Like, if we fell, she'd look at us and be like, still breathing.
Funny enough, I do that.
Good.
For Maxine, it has nothing to do with what her child is doing, but more so the emotional, like she doesn't want to let go, like that's her baby.
Yeah, I just don't want her to feel like, you know, mama's not there.
Yeah.
You know,
I
it's
think
hard for me.
Yeah. I mean, I do that with my daughter. Like she knows I'm there. Like we were talking about
mom
bubble tea
guilt's
Fridays
real.
and all that stuff. Yeah. But I think you also have to have some kind of like separate life of your own, because at the end of the day, like your daughter's going to grow up and she's going to have a life of her own. She's not going to be there all the time.
Oh, and I know,
right?
Like,
and
I have to work on it. I'm slowly working on that. Like I'm slowly getting to that point.
Yeah.
It's taken some time. Like I had to get through, you know, the hard stuff. I had to get through the issues that I was dealing with previously, after splitting with her father. And once I got through like the emotional stuff, like I'm finally at a good place. Like I'm finally getting at a better place mentally. Like I'm good. I'm good now. I've been working on myself and working on healing. So I'm ready to move on. And I am trying to like not be that of her parent, because like what am I gonna do when she's older and she's like, Mom, like,
oh, it's gonna bite you in the ass.
I'm 13, like I have no interest in spending all this time with you, like I want to go hang out with my friends. I'm gonna go, I don't know what to do with myself now, you know. So I'm working on it. It's hard, Plus, I never wanted to be that kind of parent. I never wanted to be the helicopter mom. But it's just hard. It's hard when it's like, that's my child. That's my baby.
I was the opposite of that. I was like...
I think you have to kind of think of it along the same lines as like a relationship. Like like my fiance and I have our own interests. We do our own things. We have some of the same interests, but like we both enjoy hiking. We both enjoy the outdoors, but like we'll go on hikes together, but we'll also hike a lot by ourselves because we want to enjoy, like we hike together and separately because we want to enjoy that. Like we enjoy it differently, right? We'll enjoy it together one way and then enjoy it separately another. So I think you kind of have to think of it that way. Is like you can enjoy your time with your daughter one way, but then you also have to be able to enjoy things on your own and have other hobbies like without her.
Well, what I've been starting to do is I'm starting to do like trips on my own. So like last year I went to Vegas. You know, she was here. I went for like 4 or 5, like 5 days.
It was 5 days, 4 nights, I think it was.
I think so. Yeah. Saw family, you know, enjoyed myself. And so I think like this year I'm just going to do, you know, maybe do like a staycation, but like get a hotel. So I try to do that where like I go and I get some time to myself, free time. And that's like something I really have to like push for myself because a lot of times I'll be like, yeah, I can do it. But do I want to spend the money? It's just easier if I stay home and then I'm home and I'm a mom and whatnot. So I got to remember myself. And that's hard for me. And I'll admit that, like, that's hard for me to remember that I'm more than just a mom. I'm more than just an employee. Like, I'm Maxine. Like, I have my own life. I have my own likes and dislikes and wants and needs. So it's just something that I have to work on. And it's something that I'm getting through. I'm figuring it out. It's going to take some time.
Yeah.
I got some time. She's not going to be 13 for a while. I got some time. Before she hits that. But she's already hit the mom, I'm good. Like she's 3. She's like, Mama, like
I know, she comes and visits me.
Yeah, she'll leave me. She's like, Mama, no, I'm good. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me. She's like, Mommy, shh. Shh. Stop talking. Rude. So rude. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
us.
Those are all like really good different, like they're different stories. I think those are good like variations of
there's
parenthood
different types
at different
of
times.
being like there's different types of parenthood too.
Yeah.
You know, and we're able to kind of showcase at least 3 versions of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's hundreds of thousands.
Exactly.
There's so many
it's different for
ways to
everybody. But we're going to wrap it up today with an Am I the Asshole?
Yeah. Haven't read this one, but it's long. It looks like it's going to be a good one. Let's see. What did our producer send us? Okay, so it's, am I the asshole for being hurt that my wife won't allow me to see the birth of our baby and asking for some space? Well, that just sounds horrible.
Yeah.
We'll read the story. My wife is 8 months pregnant with our first kid. She's been finalizing her birth plan. She included me in the process, and I did my best to research and understand it. I went with her to see various doulas, picked a hospital together, established emergency plans, etc. I assumed I'd be there for the birth, but she told me she didn't want me to see my daughter being born. She only wants her mother there, and I could only come in once it's done to see the baby. It hurt like hell because I was obviously very excited about it. I asked her why, and she just said she'd be more comfortable that way. I said, okay. I told her I'll let her do whatever makes her comfortable, and I'll be on board with it. But I'm very hurt and will need some space for a few days to take it in. I slept in the guest room and left before she woke up for work, and she's been blowing up my phone with texts about how it's unfair to punish her for doing what's best for the baby. She called and she was crying and telling me I'm putting so much stress on a pregnant woman for no reason and that I'm an asshole for that. I don't think needing space for a few days is wrong of me, and I'm just asking her to let me take in what's happening. I can't pretend to be happy about missing the birth of our baby. She's so angry, I'm wondering if I'm being a dick. Update 1. My wife had the baby and they're both healthy. I asked her on her due date if she still didn't want me to be there, and she said she wasn't sure. She was very stressed during labor, and I could tell she was really anxious, so I did my best to comfort and didn't ask. She did ask me to leave when it was time to push, and I came back when our daughter was born. I didn't catch her, but I got to cut the cord, and I held her first, which I'm very grateful for. Things were okay with my wife for a while until she dismissed how I felt about missing the birth and said I was making a big deal out of a couple of minutes. I then found out the reason she excluded me was because she was scared I would stop being attracted to her. I kind of lost it and I regret it, but I was sleep deprived and told her that I was disappointed in her as a mother, and she put her vanity before our kid and before me. My wife then asked for marriage counseling. We're on a wait list for a first appointment. We've been very cold towards one another when we're alone, and we'll probably fight soon again. I know it's not the best way to be when we have a newborn, but I can't help but blame her for this situation. I will be going back to work soon, so I'm hoping the distance work gives me from her will help me calm down and gather the strength to be more mature about it all. I'm just going to point out, I think they're both the assholes.
Yeah, like, okay, they are and they aren't. They both are and they both aren't. So I think that they both handled it very wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Why wait? As the woman, which I get, like, you know, if you don't want someone in there, I get it. But also it's the father of your child. So like that was a little confusing for me. But again, you know, it's not a pleasant experience giving birth. So for her, I could kind of understand that before finding out about the attractiveness part. But why wait until like the last minute to bring it up? Why not bring it up sooner? Be like, babe, I don't want you in the room with me while I'm giving birth. This is the reason why. And they have an actual conversation about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, that's, if they had a conversation about it, it probably would have saved them all the hassle.
Well, that, and like, she started it. Like, I get it when you're pregnant, especially the last trimester, like, hormones are crazy. So she might not have been able to get it out.
True.
But I think the way they both handled it was a bit off. And I think afterwards, they're both being childish. He needs to understand she's going through a lot mentally. And then after you give birth,
that
postpartum is brutal.
Yeah.
It is.
His wife is probably going through hell and back, and now he's avoiding her. She probably already feels like shit.
She probably feels unattractive. I know I did.
Well, I mean, I would.
same.
Oh, she definitely does. If that was her comment, saying like she was scared that him seeing her go through that would make him less attractive.
And
like,
his response is,
make her
I'm
less
excited to
attractive.
go to work so I can distance myself. Like, she already feels unattractive.
You
She
just
already
kind
told
of
you
like
that.
solidified her fear in the first place, and you weren't even in the room. So, I mean, I feel like that's like a pretty common fear. I mean, I didn't really care either way, but but like I know that is a fear for some women. Like that wasn't like top of mind for me. Mine was just like, get this child out of me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I want to go shopping.
Yeah.
Again, living in a really different world.
The thing is, for me, as I was the same, I didn't really care if I was attractive. Like, that wasn't an issue for me. But my situation was also a little different. Like, my relationship was not great at all. Mm-hmm. So I didn't care. But
For me, like, I didn't care my whole pregnancy, and then when I was in the middle of giving birth. But afterwards, with that postpartum,
postpartum, when that hits.
That's when it hit me.
Postpartum is no joke. It is no joke. And what he did was wrong. Walking away, wrong. That
Like,
just solidified it for her.
I think she should have talked to him before. Like, yes,
She should've.
the hormones and this and the other, but I think part of the blame should be put on her because I don't think she handled it well. Like, yes, you have every right to your feelings and your emotions and this and the other. And you know what? You, as the woman who's carrying the child, you have a say. But at the end of the day, if you're going through this whole process where he's involved with all of that,
Yeah.
like to all of a sudden just pull the rug out from under him, like you're not allowed in the room with me, and you're married and he's gone through all this stuff together with you.
How do you expect
be
him
hurtful.
to adjust to that?
Yeah.
So I think she started off in the wrong, but
He
I have to say he's way more in the
took
wrong.
it too
He
far.
took it really
he's
far.
taking it way too far. It is her choice who's in the room with her, because pushing out a child, going through labor, that's no joke. That is no joke.
No.
And if you're not going to have peace, because we don't know how their relationship is, because we're only going based on his words. He's saying, I'm this great person. I read up on all the books. We have no idea. We know that a lot of men will like to like hype themselves up like they're better when they're trying to get sympathy. So we have no idea. I'm not saying this is a great guy or bad guy either way. All I'm saying is, if she didn't want him in the room, I don't think it's 100% because of the looks. If it is, then I almost guarantee you he said or did something, and he's done it consistently enough that it's a fear for her.
I have to disagree with you because I think that could all be like, as someone who has literally made up the worst possible scenarios for my fiance in my head, and he's literally never done anything wrong to me, I think that it's very likely that he probably didn't do anything. He was probably extraordinarily supportive, and she really honestly
could have just been
overthinking, overthought it and put it all in her own head. Yeah. And then, but I think like, I don't think she was wrong for saying she didn't want him there personally, because it's your choice.
Yeah.
I do think that she at least, like, I think he deserved the explanation of why.
Yeah. And not until after the baby was born to say why.
Like, you guys are married, you guys are having a kid. Like, you should feel open enough to say why to your husband.
That's where I'm leaning, is she started off in the wrong, but he's continuing it.
Oh yeah. He's prolonging it.
And I'm sorry, if you're upset because your wife didn't tell you the reason why, but now you're gonna cut off, like you're just gonna shut down communication and not be
childish
home and not communicate, that is childish.
Oh yeah, 100%.
100% that's childish. But honestly, they're both in the wrong. She started in the wrong.
Yeah.
And he's
finishing it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Unless they get communication down and they figure that out, they're not going to work.
As you like to say, communication
is key. If you can't communicate, what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really a relationship.
You're just petty.
Two people.
Just petty. That's it. You're just petty.
Yeah.
You're passive aggressive petty is what they are. PAP. Passive aggressive petty. But yeah, so I think they're both in the wrong. But really and truly, that situation, that's hard. Because I remember I was really hormonal, pregnant.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
But I didn't see it.
I was mellow AF, so.
Yeah, I didn't see that I was hormonal. I didn't even realize it. I had to be told that I was a raging bitch pregnant, and I didn't see it. I was like, it's fine. They just pissed me off.
My poor son, he got the brunt of that.
I know. I feel so bad. I've said sorry to him. But like, I can see on her end, like, when you're pregnant, you're hormonal, and not seeing that it's hurting someone else, because you're feeling like, when you're feeling it, like, you feel justified. Logic is out the window. Like, there's your brain's already logicked it for you. You don't even have to think. Like, you don't even think the thought process. Your brain just did it.
Yeah, and there's times where you had full on conversations in your head, like between you and me, or you
and legit thought it happened.
Else.
Like, and it's not like you're crazy. It's just hormones, like hormones. They mess you up. So honestly, she's in the wrong, but I don't think she's 100% in the wrong. He's fully in the wrong because of how he handled it after. They should be talking.
I mean,
they should be talking. They should be communicating. Has every right to be upset. I get being upset, but he needs to now sit down and be like, did I say something to make you feel like I wasn't going to be attracted to you? If I did, I'm sorry. Because I'm attracted to you. I love you. I want to be with you. I want this to work. He needs to talk to her. And she needs to talk to him. They both need to talk to each other.
Yeah. I mean, long story short, that's how we feel about it. And I hope that they go to marriage counseling and
hopefully
everything works out in the end.
We don't want people to separate. We want people, if they want to be together, we want them.
If you want to be happy, be happy, be together, do your thing.
For you.
But with that is the end of this episode of Group Chat Unfiltered. Thank you guys again so much for joining us today. If you are watching this on YouTube, please take a moment and just give us a follow. We would love to have you join us, be one of our Group Chat besties, and stay tuned for more episodes. If you are listening to on a streaming service like Spotify or Apple Podcast, please give us a like, and we hope to see you guys again. Have a great day.
Yeah, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and follow.
There you go. All right. Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Bye.